Shocking rumors about Marcus Lamb that you won't believe. Rumors behind closed doors reveal a shocking secret about Lamb's personal life that could destroy the image he's been building for decades. Is a relationship with a man from the Daystar studio true? Has Marcus Lamb been hiding his orientation and true identity all this time? Could a man who led millions of believers hide the dark truth behind his public persona? Stay tuned as we delve into the allegations, examine the shocking evidence, and uncover the untold story behind the rumors everyone is talking about. Some have speculated that Lamb's public persona was a carefully constructed facade, meant to conceal an aspect of his life that, if revealed, would shatter the faith of his followers. Could Marcus Lamb have been hiding his true identity? The allegations are far from newsome suggest that his close relationships and the way he carried himself off camera hinted at something more than just a man of faith. As the years have gone by, more and more people are starting to ask, was Marcus Lamb secretly living as a gay man, in direct contradiction to the values he preached every day?
Why did y'all want to be here today?
One reason, and it is why we do what we do every day, and that is to encourage people that you can make it through even something what we've gone through, and that marriage is worth fighting for. The church, for so long, we just want to pretend like these things don't go on in the church, but they do. And I think it's time for us to speak up and speak to it and talk about it and try to help people.
Marcus Lamb, the charismatic leader of Daystar television network, was revered by millions for his dedication to spreading the word of God and his tireless work in expanding one of the largest Christian networks in the world. But what if everything you thought you knew about him wasn't entirely true? Recently, whispers have surfaced, claiming that Lamb, who built his career on a foundation of trust, faith, and family values, was hiding a shocking secret. Rumors suggest that Marcus Lamb, the man who inspired thousands with his preaching, had been living a double life, one that no one could have expected.
Right at the front, sweetheart, that you and I are strong, and I think that our marriage is better today than it has ever been.
You are just an absolute angel, and I am madly in love with you, and you mean so much to me.
However, I do want to share something with you, and it is this. About, several years ago, Marcus and I went through a challenge in our marriage, and I discovered that he was having an emotional relationship, if you will, with someone, and that it had turned into an improper relationship.
This revelation has ignited a firestorm of debate, leaving people wondering if the rumors have any truth behind them. If they do, it would raise fundamental questions about Marcus Lamb's legacy, his motivations, and his impact on the Daystar network. But what does the evidence actually say? In this article, we delve deep into the startling allegations, the history behind the rumors, and explore the truth that might be hidden beneath years of public appearances and successful broadcasts. Stay tuned as we reveal shocking new details that could change everything you thought you knew about Marcus Lamb.
One of the things that I truly believe is if you ever get past this, and you say you want to get to where you feel strong, you feel restored, you're never going to do that if you do several things. And I think you're doing some of them, and that can create obstacles. Number one, if you ever try to trivialize this, then you'll never get past this, because trust me, she doesn't trivialize this in any way. This is a full-on problem, right? And I looked at some of the things you said. You said, well, it started out as a dependency, then it became a mutual affirmation, then an emotional involvement, then minimal sexual contact. That's like being minimally pregnant. Yeah. You either are or you aren't. And I would hate for you to try to minimalize that or trivialize that, because that would be an affront to you if that happened. And I think that's important. And you feel like he has acknowledged this fully, Fred.
I really do. I think it's easy in discussion to kind of go around along the line, because that's how it progresses. But that's how anything negative usually progresses. Most of us don't start off would wake up one day and say, we're going to go out and commit adultery or shoot somebody.
Before the allegations and the rumors, Marcus Lamb's life was nothing short of extraordinary. Born on the 7th of October, 1957, in the small town of Cordell, Georgia, Marcus grew up in a devout Christian family. Raised with strong religious values, he was exposed to the power of faith at an early age. His father, who was a pastor, instilled in him the importance of spreading the gospel, a mission that Marcus would carry with him throughout his life. In the late 1980s, Marcus and his wife, Joni Lamb, co-founded Daystar television network, a Christian network that would go on to become one of the most influential and far-reaching Christian broadcasters in the world. The network's message was simple: to spread the gospel to the farthest corners of the globe, with a focus on family values, faith, and humanitarian efforts. Daystar quickly grew, attracting millions of viewers who tuned in for its programming that featured sermons, praise and worship, and Christian-themed talk shows.
Don't let the devil tell you that he has a right to your children because of your past. Your past is under the blood, and the devil can't remove you from the mercy seat. My children are under the blood, and my children are under the mercy of God. So let's just take a moment and let's have a praise break. Lift your hands and wave them to the Lord and thank God that you and your children are under the mercy and under the blood. Anybody here today, you've got a past, a bad past, but you're glad the devil can't use your past to curse your children. Maybe your father was an alcoholic, but your children aren't going to be. Maybe you've had some bad problems, but your children don't have to, because you can bind the scarlet cord in the window of your home. And when God sees the blood, he will pass over, and the plague shall not be upon you. I'm about to get happy in New Creation Church in Singapore today. Hallelujah!
Marcus became a household name, admired not only for his eloquent preaching, but for his ability to connect with his audience on a personal level. He was the face of the network and icon of faith, resilience, and dedication. His charm and charisma allowed him to build strong relationships with both his supporters and his peers. For many, he was a beacon of hope, a man whose unwavering belief in Christ made him an inspiration. But while Marcus Lamb built his empire, the cracks in his seemingly perfect life were beginning to show. For years, Marcus Lamb's personal life remained largely a mystery. However, as with many public figures, his fame was not without its complications. As Daystar expanded, so too did the scrutiny on Lamb's life outside of the spotlight. Rumors about his personal relationships, his management of the network, and even his personal behavior began to swirl. But it wasn't until the mid-2000s that the first whispers of something more serious began to surface. Reports began circulating in Christian circles, fueled by gossip from insiders and former employees of Daystar, that Marcus Lamb's private life may not have been as pristine as his public image suggested. Some claimed that Lamb had engaged in inappropriate relationships that were not in line with the values of the network. However, none of these rumors had enough evidence to be taken seriously at the time.
My mom put the down payment for the honeymoon 2 months before she was even engaged. That just showed you how quickly she was working towards this marriage, that she had already decided to plan her honeymoon before the engagement. So they get engaged December 31st of 2022. There was just a lot of secrecy and deception around the relationship. Normal people, when they get engaged, they want to shout it to the rooftops. But because my mother was marrying Doug and, he was coming off a divorce, she kept it quiet. She got with Jimmy, and they came up with this idea to have Jimmy Evans come on her table talk show and do the announcement. But before they announced that Doug was her fiance, Jimmy did the infamous, it's okay to get divorced because of the 4 A's: addiction, adultery, abuse, and abandonment, and did that whole justification of the marriage. And then they introduced Doug at the end of the show. They took the show down because
Lisa spoke up for herself.
Lisa, she was made to be
The bad guy.
represented in a very bad light, unfairly to her, and she asked that they take it down, so they did. That program is not even on Daystar's website anymore.
But as the years passed, these rumors gained traction. In recent years, more people came forward, suggesting that Marcus Lamb had hidden parts of his identity. and some of the most shocking speculations pointed to the possibility that Marcus may have been secretly gay. These allegations were backed by certain behavioral patterns and comments from former colleagues who noted Lamb's unusually close relationships with other men. While these comments were never substantiated with concrete evidence, they added fuel to a fire that many were too afraid to confront. In 2020, things took a darker turn. Marcus Lamb's health started to deteriorate after being diagnosed with COVID-19. During this time, the pressures of his personal and professional life began to mount, and the rumors surrounding him started to take on a life of their own. Then, in 2021, Marcus's death sent shockwaves through the Christian community. The man who had led Daystar for decades was gone, and with his death came a sense of finality to the questions surrounding his life. However, it wasn't long before those who had always doubted Marcus Lamb's true nature began to push their theories even further.
Being anti-vax was his crusade, but COVID evidently claimed his life. Marcus Lamb died after being hospitalized for COVID-19 recently. Lamb led a popular Christian broadcast network and used his empire, among other things, he used it to spread inaccurate information about coronavirus vaccines. He advocated for alternate treatments instead. One of his shows featured prominent anti-vaxxers like Robert Kennedy Jr. And though Lamb's death has made national headlines this week, some Christian leaders don't want to talk about it, as the Washington Post pointed out in this story. Joining me now is someone who will talk about it. Bob Smetana is a national writer for the Religion News Service and a former president of the Religion News Association. Bob, tell us about Marcus Lamb. For those who didn't watch his programs on Daystar, what was he telling viewers about COVID-19?
Sure. So Marcus Lamb was the head of one of the largest Christian broadcasters. He was telling people that the COVID vaccines were dangerous, that the alternative medicines were better, that really there was kind of a conspiracy by the government and the big pharma and the news media to give him disinformation. So he felt he was giving the truth about the COVID vaccines.
Amidst the mourning, some began revisiting the rumors about his sexuality, asking whether his marriage to his wife, Joni, had been part of a larger effort to present a more socially acceptable image to his followers. Was it possible that Marcus Lamb had been living a double life, driven to conceal his true self due to the societal pressures of being a public Christian leader? The lack of concrete answers led many to speculate and question everything about his legacy. Despite the growing whispers, the Lamb family, particularly Joni Lamb, has remained largely silent about the allegations. To this day, no definitive evidence has surfaced to confirm or deny these claims. The Daystar network has continued to operate under the leadership of Joni, who has taken on a larger role since Marcus's passing. Joni's leadership has been marked by her strong faith and her commitment to continuing the mission that Marcus started. Yet, the rumors about Marcus Lamb's sexuality continue to linger, a cloud hanging over the legacy of the network. Joni has remained steadfast in her defense of Marcus, insisting that he was a man of integrity and faith who only sought to spread the gospel. She has expressed deep grief over his passing, but has never addressed the allegations surrounding his private life. It's unclear whether she is protecting her husband's memory or simply unwilling to acknowledge the possibility that the man she loved might have been concealing a crucial part of his identity.
In 2020, there was an incident that took place at my granddaughter's school, and Susie called me, and she said, "Will you go down to the school with me?" And I said, "Absolutely." So we went together to the school. We reported it to the school, and my granddaughter had told her mother that a little boy had touched her and her friend inappropriately, okay? And so that was never written about, that I went with her or that there was another little girl involved. And so Susie and I reported it to the school, and I talked to my granddaughter, and Susie had asked me to ask her what happened, and so I did, but my granddaughter didn't want to talk, so I didn't push it, but I was fully supportive of her. So that happened in 2020, and a police report was filed.
The controversy surrounding Marcus Lamb's personal life has not only raised questions about his legacy, but has also left many wondering about the future of Daystar. The network's influence remains as powerful as ever, but with a new generation of leadership and growing scrutiny, the path ahead is uncertain. Will Daystar continue to thrive under Joni Lamb's leadership? Or will the shadow of the past hinder the network's ability to grow and evolve? And what about Marcus's legacy? Can the network remain true to the values that made it great? Or will the weight of these allegations prevent them from moving forward? The rumors surrounding Marcus Lamb's sexuality have cast a shadow over his legacy, but they are just one part of a much larger story. Marcus Lamb built Daystar from the ground up, and in doing so, he inspired countless individuals to live out their faith. His influence on the Christian broadcasting world cannot be overstated. But the truth about his personal life remains elusive. Did Marcus Lamb live a double life? Were the rumors about his sexuality true? And how will his legacy be remembered by those who looked up to him? As the Lamb family continues to lead Daystar into the future, these questions may remain unanswered. However, what's undeniable is the profound impact Marcus Lamb had on the world, both for good and for ill.
Recently, Daystar made the decision to terminate my son Jonathan Lamb's employment. That decision was not taken lightly. It followed a 15-month review of Jonathan's performance and his refusal to take any steps to satisfy a detailed performance improvement plan put in place. He also refused my offer to participate in a formal mediation to resolve grievances in a biblical and professional manner. Rather than take any steps to improve his performance at Daystar, it seems clear now that Jonathan was focused on fabricating a smear campaign. You see, Jonathan was extremely disappointed that he was not named the future president of Daystar following the death of his father and my husband, Marcus Lamb, despite the fact that Marcus had given a clear directive to the family and to the board that I would succeed him as president. Jonathan's disappointment in not getting his way only deepened when I married Dr. Doug Weiss, who has been such a blessing to me, the rest of my family, and Daystar.
Marcus Lamb was a complex figure. On one hand, he was a charismatic television evangelist who created one of the most successful Christian television networks in the world. His public persona, built on family values and unwavering faith, was both admired and revered by millions. Daystar Television Network became synonymous with hope, inspiration, and the Christian mission of spreading the gospel. Lamb's legacy in the Christian broadcasting world cannot be overstated, as he helped pioneer the way for religious media on television. But the rumors surrounding his personal life, particularly the allegations about his sexuality, have cast a long shadow over that legacy. What does it mean to have built an empire on principles of faith, only to have one's private life questioned in such a profound way? The truth is, no one will ever truly know Marcus Lamb as a person beyond the confines of the public image he crafted.
I can tell you that as a mother, as a grandmother, this situation saddens me deeply, and it grieves my heart because I love my family. I love all my children. I love my grandchildren. I love the work we've done together for so many years. And I had hoped that we could have resolved the situation in private. But now, Jonathan has given me no choice except to speak out. Everyone knows that we have dedicated our lives to spreading the love of Jesus, and to see it attacked by my son Jonathan and his wife is truly heartbreaking. I want to assure you that all the allegations that are circulating against myself and my late husband are completely false. We have already begun to take legal steps to defend ourselves, and we will address the accusations in a God-honoring way. We stand firm in our faith, knowing that God is with us, and his purpose for Daystar is far greater than any present challenge we may be facing. While this attack is very painful and wrong, I know that our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against a spiritual enemy who seeks to destroy and divide no matter what the cost. I want to ask you for your prayers. Thank you for your continued love and support. Our team here at Daystar will keep you updated. Again,
those closest to him, like his wife Joni, continue to defend the man they knew, rejecting the idea that Marcus lived anything but the life of a faithful servant to God. Yet, the whispers persist and the question lingers. Was Marcus Lamb hiding something that could fundamentally change how his supporters viewed him? Despite the intense scrutiny that came with his fame, Marcus Lamb remained committed to his work with Daystar until the very end of his life. His battle with COVID-19, which tragically led to his death in November 2021, marked the end of an era for Daystar and the Lamb family. But as the dust settles, questions about his personal life continue to haunt his memory. Could the evangelical leader have lived a life of concealment, even while broadcasting to millions of people the ideals of family, faith, and morality? Or was he simply a product of the contradictions inherent in public life, where one's private persona is often at odds with their public image? Joni Lamb, his wife and the current leader of Daystar, has expressed grief over her husband's death, but has consistently maintained that Marcus was a man of integrity and righteousness. She has refused to publicly address the allegations surrounding his sexuality, possibly because she holds firm to the belief that Marcus was genuine in his faith. Joni, like many others who knew Marcus, sees his contributions to the Christian community as his true legacy, and she seems determined to carry on the mission they built together.